Are we rolling? Yes, we are. What's up, guys? Your boy McKinley Crain here, and today I'm going to be doing my spoiler-free movie review of the recent 2021 prequel to 101 Dalmatians. Well, kinda, because it's kinda in its own canon, if you know what I mean. Which is the 2021 drama film Cruella. So I saw this film 2 days after it came out. I saw it the Sunday after it came out. And this film stars Emma Stone as Estella, aka Cruella DeVille. And this movie is like basically a backstory for the character which was first introduced in the 1960s 101 Dalmatians movie. She was the villain in that one. She's kind of the protagonist slash anti-hero of this one. And I quite enjoyed this movie. It was a great movie. It had some great acting in it, especially from Emma Stone as Cruella. Her performance was electrifying and just felt spot on, and was very strong. And there's a lot of strong acting in this film, especially from Cruella herself, Emma Stone. I thought that the story was really great. I loved all the little twists and turns in this movie. I loved this movie. There's nothing wrong with this movie at all. I loved it. I loved the direction that this film went in with its story. I loved the humor in this film. The humor in this film was great and cleverly written. This film has great writing. The character of Cruella is played spot on. One question I do have about the film is, well, it's not really a question. It's more or less of like a thought. I don't exactly know if this film actually deserves its PG-13 rating. Because, like, sure, there's a little bit of language in there, like 3 cuss words, but they're all just mild. It's all just mild language. And sure, there is some other stuff, I guess, like thematic elements or violence or whatever. But it's like barely PG-13 level. Like, this is like the softest PG-13 movie I've ever seen. Why is this PG-13? Well, it's kind of obvious, because the MPAA, released why it was PG-13, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's soft. I mean, there's thematic elements in, like, other movies that aren't PG-13, and, there's not a lot of violence in this movie. It's just, sure, there's violence, but it's not that, there's not that much violence. And this movie was it was like advertised and was expected to be like a really, really dark movie, like a really, really dark adaptation of, this character's story with a lot of violence. And sure, it had that, but sure, it was a little bit dark, and it had some violence, I guess. But, people were, expecting it to be, basically, prestige level dark. Like, the prestige level dark. If you don't know what that is, it's a 2006 movie. And no, it wasn't really that dark, honestly. It was just, sure, it had some dark stuff in it, A lot of which I can't get into because that would be spoilers, but, it wasn't that dark, honestly. It was just a little dark, but it wasn't that dark. So, I guess it deserves its PG-13 rating. But honestly, I don't understand how, National Treasure could be PG and then this movie could be PG-13. That makes no sense to me. There's a lot more violence in National Treasure, and whether or not that movie's darker than this movie, about the same, I guess. But that movie is PG, and it's more deserving of a PG-13 rating than this film is. And Disney has released PG-13 movies and R-rated movies before, by the way, just in case you were wondering. They don't really they put flagship logos on their R-rated movies. I mean, they've released PG-13 movies before and R-rated movies, but we're specifically focusing on PG-13 right now. I mean, they've released Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff, and that deserves its PG-13 rating. That's actually darker than this is. But this is just kind of I guess it's not technically a kids movie, but it's honestly really it's way more lighthearted than you would expect. Way more lighthearted. I mean, I know it's got revenge and stuff like that in it, but it's so does Big Hero 6, and that was a PG movie. I mean, how I can kind of understand why this is PG-13. I guess it barely deserves its PG-13 rating, but it's a really soft PG-13, if you know what I mean. And what I don't get is that there are a lot of people online that are just a lot of people's parents and stuff like that, and a lot of just random people online that are just a bit of kind of call this a hard PG-13, oh, it's super violent, oh, it's super dark. Clearly they haven't seen anything clearly they don't watch a lot of movies, because this isn't dark at all. It's there are just people that are just... There have been people online that have just been horrified with this movie's inappropriate content or whatever they think it is. This, for example, this person writing this article that I'm about to show. Well, I'm going to show the article, not the person. If you got a glimpse of that and read enough, isn't that ridiculous? I mean, I'm mainly speaking to those who have seen the movie, but yeah, isn't that a little ridiculous to say about this movie? I mean, it's not that dark. It's not really... It's only a little bit dark. It's mildly dark. I mean, there are way darker films than this. Why is this... Why are people freaking out over this? I mean, it's just a PG-13 movie, I guess, but barely. I know I keep saying that, but that's just what it is, honestly. And, that doesn't make me... All this stuff surrounding the movie not being as dark as we expected does not make me like the movie any less. Or more, honestly. But it does confuse me. But, I still love the movie. It was still a great movie, and, it had a great story. It was fun to watch. It was very exciting and entertaining. And when it was a little bit dark, it did work. Like, that did work with the film. Anyway, I'm going to give this film an 86% out of a 100%, which is the equivalent of an A-. Like, subscribe, join the notification squad. I will return.